When you walk into a supermarket, you think you have a choice. You see shelves packed with hundreds of different brands. You can choose between Coke or Pepsi. You can choose to fly on Delta, United, or American Airlines. You can choose to bank with Chase, Wells Fargo, or Citi. It feels like a free market. It feels like capitalism at work, with companies competing for your hard-earned money. But this is an illusion. It is a carefully crafted lie designed to make you feel like you are in control. The reality is much darker. What if I told you that all these competing companies, these sworn enemies, are actually owned by the exact same people? There are giants hiding in the shadows of Wall Street, entities that have grown so large, they no longer just participate in the market, they are the market. They don't make cars, they don't bake bread, they don't develop vaccines, they simply own the companies that do. Today, we are going to track the money to the very top of the pyramid. We are going to expose the shadow rulers of the global economy. We are going to look at the two companies that control more wealth than the GDP of Germany, Japan, and the United Kingdom combined. We will uncover who they are, how they quietly bought the world while you were distracted, and answer the terrifying question: is an artificial intelligence named Aladdin deciding your financial future right now? This is the story of BlackRock and Vanguard. And it is the story of how you lost your freedom without even noticing. Chapter 1. The Monopoly in Real Life. To understand how deep this goes, we have to stop looking at logos and start looking at shareholders. Let's play a game. Let's look at the owners of the most powerful companies in America. Take the technology sector. Who owns Apple? You might think it's Tim Cook, or maybe individual investors. But if you look at the public filings, the largest institutional shareholders are Vanguard and BlackRock. Okay, what about their biggest rival, Microsoft? The largest shareholders are Vanguard and BlackRock. What about Amazon, Vanguard and BlackRock? Facebook? The same. It's not just tech. Let's look at the banks where you keep your money. JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup. The top shareholders are always the same. Even in the media, where we see constant conflict, you see CNN and Fox News fighting every day, pushing opposite political agendas, dividing the country. They seem like mortal enemies. But if you look at who owns the biggest chunks of their parent companies, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Fox Corporation, you will find the exact same two names at the top of the list. These companies are called asset managers. The biggest one is BlackRock, led by a man named Larry Fink. Together with Vanguard and State Street, they are known as the Big Three. Combined, these three firms manage over $20 trillion in assets. To put that number in perspective, that is more money than the entire value of all the companies listed on the London Stock Exchange, multiplied by 5. If BlackRock were a country, it would be the third richest superpower on Earth, right behind the United States and China. But the problem isn't just the money. The problem is the power that comes with it. Because they hold the shares, they hold the votes. In every annual board meeting for Apple, Exxon, or Coca-Cola, the Big Three are the ones deciding who gets to be the CEO, how much the dividends should be, and what political policies the company must follow. They are the puppet masters. The CEOs you see on TV, they are just the puppets. Chapter 2. The Mechanism of Control. How did this happen? How did two companies end up owning the entire S&P 500? It started with a good idea. The index fund. Decades ago, investing was hard. You had to pick specific stocks and hope they went up. Then, a man named Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, created a way for regular people to buy a tiny piece of everything at once. It was cheap, it was safe, and it was brilliant. Passive investing took over the world. Trillions of dollars from pension funds, 401ks, and retirement accounts flooded into BlackRock and Vanguard. The average person thought they were just saving for retirement. They didn't realize that by giving their money to these giants, they were handing over their voting rights. Today, BlackRock and Vanguard use your money to buy the shares, but they keep the power to vote. Imagine if you bought a house, but your neighbor got to decide what color you paint the walls, who lives inside, and when you sell it. That is exactly what is happening with the global economy. They have become too big to fail and too big to fight. If a CEO refuses to do what Larry Fink wants, BlackRock can dump millions of shares overnight, crashing the company's stock price and getting the CEO fired. This is why every major corporation seems to speak with the same voice, support the same causes, and move in the same direction. They are all taking orders from the same headquarters. Chapter 3. Aladdin, the AI God. Now this is where the story shifts from a financial documentary to a sci-fi horror movie. Managing $20 trillion is impossible for human beings. The sheer amount of data, trades, and risk calculations is too much for the human brain. So, BlackRock built a secret weapon. A weapon that might be more powerful than any nuclear bomb in existence. It is an artificial intelligence system called Aladdin. Aladdin stands for Asset, Liability, Debt, and Derivative Investment Network. It started in 1988 as a simple risk calculator on a single computer. Today, it is the operating system of the world's finance. Aladdin is a massive network of supercomputers that monitors every single trade, every risk, and every political event in real time, 24 hours a day. But here is the catch. It doesn't just manage BlackRock's money. Nearly every major bank in the world uses Aladdin. Insurance companies use Aladdin. Even other asset managers pay BlackRock to use Aladdin. It controls the flow of money for the entire planet. And it gets scarier. The government relies on it too. In 2008, when the financial crisis almost destroyed the world, the US government didn't know what to do. They didn't have the data. So the Federal Reserve hired BlackRock to clean up the mess. In 2020, during the pandemic crash, the Federal Reserve hired BlackRock again. Think about that for a second. The United States government, the most powerful entity on Earth, had to ask a private company for help because that private company understood the economy better than the government did. We have handed the keys of the global financial system to a robot owned by Larry Fink. If Aladdin glitches, or if the algorithm decides that the market should crash, the global economy stops. Chapter 4. The Circular Ownership. So we know BlackRock owns the world, but who owns BlackRock? This is where the rabbit hole goes infinite. BlackRock is a public company. You can buy shares of it on the stock market under the ticker symbol BLK. So naturally, we should look at their major shareholders to see who the boss is. When you look at the list of BlackRock's biggest owners, the top name on the list is Vanguard. Okay, so Vanguard owns BlackRock. But who owns Vanguard? This is the ultimate dead end. Vanguard has a unique corporate structure. It is a private company owned by its own funds. Technically, Vanguard is owned by the people who invest in Vanguard. It is a closed loop. However, this structure allows for total anonymity. The richest families in the world, historical dynasties like the Rothschilds, the Morgans, the DuPonts, can hide their massive wealth inside these private funds without anyone ever knowing. We can't see their names on a public list, it's private. But the structure creates a perfect circle of control. BlackRock owns the corporations, Vanguard owns BlackRock, and a small, elite group of anonymous billionaires likely control the funds inside Vanguard. It is a monopoly disguised as a free market. It is a centralization of power that kings and emperors of the past could only dream of. Chapter 5. The Impact on You, the Great Reset. You might be wondering, why does this matter to me? I'm just a normal person. Let them play their billionaire games. It matters because they are not just interested in stock prices anymore. They are interested in social engineering. They are using your money to change how you live. This is what is known as ESG, environmental, social, and governance scores. Larry Fink has openly written in his letters to CEOs that behaviors are going to have to change, and we have to force behaviors. Because they control the capital, they can force companies to push political agendas that you might not agree with. They can debank gun manufacturers. They can force energy companies to stop drilling for oil, which drives up the price of your gas. They can promote social ideologies in the products your children consume. If a company refuses to comply with the ESG score, BlackRock cuts their funding. The company starves. This is why you feel like the world has gone crazy in the last few years. It's not organic cultural change. It is a top-down mandate. And it hits closer to home than you think. Look at the housing market. In the last few years, massive institutional investors, funded by these giants, have been buying up single-family homes across America. They are paying cash, outbidding normal families, and turning those homes into rentals. The goal, as stated by the World Economic Forum, is a future where you will own nothing and you will be happy. They are turning a nation of owners into a nation of renters. And the landlord is a faceless corporation managed by an AI. Conclusion: how to opt out. This sounds terrifying. It sounds like we have already lost. The enemy has all the money, all the data, and all the power. But there is a flaw in their plan, a crack in the armor. Their power comes from your money. BlackRock doesn't invest Larry Fink's personal savings. They invest your pension fund, your 401k, and your bank deposits. They are using the people's money to enslave the people. The only way to win this game is to stop playing by their rules. We need to wake up. First, we must educate ourselves. We need to look at where our money is actually sitting. Second, we need to understand the value of hard assets. They can print paper, and they can manipulate digital numbers, but they cannot print gold, they cannot print land, and they cannot control decentralized assets like Bitcoin that exist outside of their banking system. Third, we vote with our wallets. Every dollar you spend at a local business, every dollar you take out of the big banks, weakens their grip. The system is designed to keep you asleep. It is designed to keep you distracted with politics and entertainment while they rob the vault. But now, you are awake. You see the strings attached to the puppets. In the next episode, we are going to explore the psychological weapon they use to steal your wealth without you even noticing. We are going to talk about the psychology of bubbles, from the tulip mania of the 1600s to the crypto craze of today. Why do human beings always fall for the hype? And how can you spot the next crash before it happens? You do not want to miss that one. Subscribe and turn on notifications. The class is in session. I'll see you tomorrow.